Before you eat another healthy dinner and wake up the next morning wondering why your blood sugar is still high, listen carefully. The problem may not only be the rice, the bread, or the dessert, it may be that your plate is missing the right kind of vegetable. Hello, I'm Dr. Claire Bennett. Today, we are going to talk clearly about 9 vegetables that may help older adults keep blood sugar steadier, naturally and safely. I will explain what each vegetable does, how to eat it, who should be more careful, and the small mistake that can turn a good vegetable into a blood sugar problem. Let's begin with the vegetable I usually recommend first because it is simple, familiar, and easy to use even if you live alone or cook very little. The first vegetable is broccoli. Broccoli is one of the best vegetables to start with because it is familiar, easy to find, and very easy to add to a senior's meal. For blood sugar, broccoli helps in 3 main ways. First, it is much lower in digestible carbohydrate than rice, potatoes, bread, noodles, or sweet drinks. That means you can eat a helpful portion without adding too much starch that may turn into sugar in the bloodstream. Second, broccoli contains fiber. Fiber slows digestion. When you eat fiber before or with starch, the glucose from that meal usually enters the blood more gradually. Third, broccoli belongs to the cruciferous vegetable family. This family contains natural compounds called glucosinolates. When broccoli is chopped or chewed, these compounds can help form sulforaphane, a compound that has been studied for its role in glucose metabolism and inflammation. A study published in Science Translational Medicine reported that sulforaphane reduced hepatic glucose production and improved glucose control in patients with type 2 diabetes. That does not mean broccoli is a diabetes treatment, and it does not mean you should take high-dose supplements. But it does help explain why broccoli and its family of vegetables are worth paying attention to. Food is not the same as an extract. Supplements can vary in strength and quality, and they may interact with medical conditions or medications. For most older adults, the safer choice is very simple. Eat broccoli as food. Try about half a cup to 1 cup of cooked broccoli with dinner. Steam it lightly, or add it to soup near the end so it does not become gray and mushy. If chewing is difficult, cook it softer and chop it smaller. A practical dinner plate could be salmon, chicken, tofu, or eggs, half a plate of broccoli and another non-starchy vegetable, and a smaller portion of rice, potato, noodles, or bread. The mistake is covering broccoli with sweet sauce or too much cheese sauce and thinking it is still the same blood sugar-friendly vegetable. A little olive oil, lemon, garlic, or herbs is fine, but sticky sweet sauces can turn a helpful vegetable into a hidden sugar problem. And if you take warfarin, do not suddenly go from eating almost no green vegetables to eating large portions of broccoli every day without speaking with your doctor or pharmacist. The issue is not that broccoli is forbidden. The issue is consistency. Now, once broccoli helps slow the meal down, the next vegetable works more quietly in the background. The second vegetable is spinach, and I also include similar dark leafy greens here, such as Swiss chard, kale, collard greens, and beet greens. These greens give you a lot of nutrition for very little carbohydrate. They provide fiber, folate, magnesium, potassium, vitamin K, and many protective plant compounds. Many seniors hear the words, "eat more greens," and immediately imagine a large cold salad. But if you have dentures, sensitive teeth, trouble chewing, or a stomach that does not like raw vegetables, you do not need to force yourself to eat raw salad. Cooked greens may be better. A large handful of spinach shrinks down into a small, soft portion. You can stir it into eggs, add it to soup, fold it into beans, place it under fish, or mix it into a warm vegetable bowl. It becomes easy to chew, easy to swallow, and easy to repeat. A BMJ systematic review and meta-analysis found that higher intake of green leafy vegetables was associated with a lower risk of type 2 diabetes, with the result suggesting about a 14% lower risk among people with greater intake. That does not prove spinach alone prevents diabetes, but it supports the idea that leafy greens are part of a healthier blood sugar pattern. Here is a practical way to use it. Before lunch, warm a small pan, add 1 teaspoon of olive oil, a handful of spinach, a little garlic, and a splash of water. Let it soften, then eat it with eggs, fish, chicken, tofu, or beans. After that, eat your smaller portion of rice, potato, pasta, or bread. That order matters. Vegetables first, protein next, starch last. For many older adults, that one change makes the meal feel more controlled. Now, the third vegetable is useful for a different reason. It does not just add fiber, it adds a special kind of texture that can help slow the meal. The third vegetable is okra. Okra is not loved by everyone, but it has one special feature that can be useful for blood sugar. When you cut or cook okra, you may notice a slippery, gel-like texture. Some people dislike that texture, but from a blood sugar point of view, that gel is part of the benefit. Okra contains soluble fiber. Soluble fiber can form a gel in the digestive tract, which may slow how quickly food leaves the stomach and how quickly carbohydrates are absorbed. Think of it like traffic. If every car rushes onto the road at once, the road jams. If the cars enter slowly, the system handles them better. Fiber helps glucose enter more gradually. And this is not just a small detail. A 2020 systematic review in PLOS Medicine found that higher fiber diets in adults with prediabetes, type 1 diabetes, or type 2 diabetes improved measures of blood sugar control, blood lipids, body weight, and inflammation. The authors suggested increasing fiber by about 15 grams per day, or moving toward about 35 grams per day when appropriate. For seniors, okra works well in soups, stews, and tomato-based dishes. Frozen okra is fine. You can slice it into vegetable soup, simmer it with tomatoes, or cook it with onion, garlic, and a small measured amount of olive oil. The mistake is deep frying it. Fried okra may taste good, but the breading and oil change the meal. It becomes more calorie-dense and often more starch-heavy. If the goal is steadier blood sugar, stewed, steamed, or lightly sautéed okra is the better choice. Before we move on, choose just one vegetable from the first three that you could realistically eat this week. Not the most perfect vegetable on paper. The one you will actually put on your plate. That is the one that can help you. Now I want to give you one safety note, and I am placing it here on purpose, not at the very beginning. These vegetables can support steadier blood sugar, but they do not replace diabetes medication. If you take insulin, sulfonylureas, or other medicines that can cause low blood sugar, watch your readings when you make bigger food changes. Low blood sugar can be dangerous for older adults, especially if you live alone, drive, have heart disease, or have a history of falls. This matters especially for the fourth vegetable. The fourth vegetable is bitter melon. Bitter melon has been used as food in many cultures for a long time, and it has also been studied for possible glucose-lowering effects. One clinical study found that bitter melon had a modest hypoglycemic effect in people with type 2 diabetes, but its effect was less than metformin. That is why we need to talk about it carefully. A food that may lower glucose is not automatically safe for every older adult. If you take insulin, glipizide, glyburide, glycoside, or similar medicines, bitter melon could increase the chance of low blood sugar in some people. Low blood sugar in older adults can lead to shakiness, weakness, confusion, falls, or even loss of consciousness. So, I do not recommend bitter melon capsules, strong extracts, or concentrated teas unless your clinician knows. Those are not the same as eating a small portion of bitter melon as food. If bitter melon is part of your traditional diet and you enjoy it, use it carefully. Slice it thin, remove the seeds, soak it briefly if the bitterness is too strong, and cook it with egg, tofu, fish, or lean meat. Start with a small portion, not a large bowl. For many seniors, bitter melon is not the first vegetable I would choose. I would usually start with broccoli, spinach, green beans, cauliflower, cabbage, or eggplant. But if you already eat bitter melon and your blood sugar is being monitored, it can be used wisely. Now let's move from vegetables that slow the meal to vegetables that help replace some starch without making the plate feel empty. The fifth vegetable is green beans. Green beans are one of the most practical vegetables for seniors because they feel like real food. They are warm, filling, easy to chew when cooked properly, and easy to buy frozen. They can help replace part of a starch without making dinner feel like a punishment. This is important because many older adults grew up with meals built around rice, bread, noodles, or potatoes. If I simply say, eat less starch, that can feel discouraging. But if I say, keep a smaller portion of starch and add a warm serving of green beans, that feels possible. For example, if your usual dinner is chicken and a large plate of rice, try half the usual rice, more green beans, and the same amount of protein. Eat the green beans and protein first, then the rice. You have not removed the familiar food. You have changed the balance. The CDC's diabetes plate method gives a simple way to picture this. Start with a 9-inch plate. Fill half with non-starchy vegetables such as salad, green beans, or broccoli. Fill 1/4 with lean protein and 1/4 with carbohydrate foods. That one visual rule can stop rice, bread, noodles, or potatoes from taking over the whole meal. The mistake is turning green beans into a heavy casserole with creamy soup, fried onions, and too much salt. That may be a holiday dish, but it is not the everyday blood sugar version. For daily use, steam them, sauté them lightly, or add them to soup. Use garlic, lemon, herbs, pepper, or a small amount of olive oil. If you use canned green beans, choose no salt added when possible, or rinse them before eating, especially if you have high blood pressure, kidney disease, heart failure, or swelling in the legs. The 6th vegetable is cauliflower. Cauliflower is useful because it can stand beside the foods you already love. It does not need to replace everything. It can simply reduce the amount of starch in the meal. This is where the half and half method works well. If you love rice, try half regular rice and half cauliflower rice. If you love mashed potatoes, try half potato and half mashed cauliflower. If you love creamy soup, blend cooked cauliflower into the broth instead of adding flour or heavy cream. This approach lowers the total starch load without making the meal feel strange. And that matters, because a blood sugar-friendly diet must be repeatable. If it feels miserable, most people will stop doing it. Cauliflower also belongs to the cruciferous vegetable family, like broccoli and Brussels sprouts. It provides fiber and plant compounds, but the taste is mild, so many seniors tolerate it well. The mistake is assuming every packaged cauliflower product is automatically good for blood sugar. Cauliflower pizza, crackers, and snack foods may still contain flour, starch, and added fats. The word cauliflower on the package does not guarantee a healthy meal. If cauliflower causes gas, cook it well, start with a smaller portion, and avoid eating a very large amount late at night. The 7th vegetable is cabbage, including bok choy and napa cabbage. Cabbage is not glamorous, but it is one of the most useful vegetables for older adults. It is inexpensive, lasts a long time in the refrigerator, cooks soft, and works in soups, stir-fries, stews, and side dishes. It adds volume without adding much carbohydrate. That volume matters because hunger is not only about calories. It is also about how much food is physically in the stomach, how long the meal takes, how much chewing is involved, and how warm and satisfying the food feels. A warm cabbage soup before dinner can slow down the whole meal, not a crash diet soup, not a punishment soup. A real soup with cabbage, bok choy, onion, celery, mushrooms if you like them, and a protein such as chicken, tofu, fish, or beans. Many seniors eat too quickly without realizing it. Maybe they live alone. Maybe they are tired. Maybe they have eaten the same way for 40 years. A warm vegetable soup at the beginning of the meal creates a pause. It gives the body time to register food before the starch arrives. The caution is fermented cabbage, such as sauerkraut or kimchi. These foods may be useful for some people, but they can be very high in sodium. If you have high blood pressure, kidney disease, heart failure, or swelling in the legs, use salty fermented vegetables as a condiment, not as the main vegetable. Now we come to the last 2 vegetables. These can be very helpful, but the cooking method matters. The 8th vegetable is Brussels sprouts. I know Brussels sprouts are not everyone's favorite. Some people remember them as bitter, gray, and overboiled, but when cooked well, they are one of the most satisfying vegetables for seniors trying to steady blood sugar. Brussels sprouts contain fiber and take time to chew. That may sound simple, but chewing time matters. A meal that disappears quickly is easier to overeat. A meal with fiber-rich vegetables, protein, and a smaller portion of starch tends to last longer in the stomach and may reduce the urge to snack later. This is important because many seniors do well during the day, then run into trouble at night. They eat dinner too quickly, feel hungry again 2 hours later, and reach for crackers, cookies, cereal, or toast. A more filling dinner can reduce that pattern. Try Brussels sprouts roasted with a small amount of olive oil until tender, or slice them thin and sauté them with garlic and a splash of vinegar. If they are hard to chew, steam them first, then lightly brown them. The mistake is adding lots of bacon, honey, maple syrup, or sweet glaze. A little flavor is fine, but if the vegetable becomes a sweet side dish, it will not support blood sugar in the same way. If you take warfarin, keep intake of vitamin K-rich vegetables consistent and discuss major changes with your clinician. For most people, vegetables are not the enemy. Sudden, unpredictable changes are the bigger issue. The ninth vegetable is eggplant. Eggplant is helpful because it gives a soft, hearty texture without adding much starch. It is low in carbohydrate, high in water, and contains fiber and plant compounds, especially in the purple skin. For seniors who miss rich, comforting foods, eggplant can make a meal feel more satisfying. But eggplant has one major problem. It absorbs oil like a sponge. That means the cooking method can completely change the health effect. Baked or stewed eggplant can be a good blood sugar-friendly vegetable. Deep-fried eggplant or eggplant cooked in a large amount of oil can become very calorie-dense. Extra calories may not spike sugar as quickly as juice or white bread, but over time they can contribute to weight gain and insulin resistance. The better methods are roasting, grilling, baking, stewing, or air frying with a measured amount of oil. Try roasted eggplant with tomato, garlic, and herbs. Try eggplant in a vegetable stew with fish or beans. Try grilled eggplant with plain yogurt sauce, lemon, and herbs. Keep the sauce unsweetened. Now let's bring all 9 vegetables together. Broccoli, spinach, okra, bitter melon, green beans, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and eggplant are not powerful because they are magic. They are powerful because they change the structure of the meal. They add fiber, they add water, they add chewing, they add volume, they slow the pace. They help you feel full before starch takes over the plate. And when used consistently, they may help reduce the size of glucose spikes after meals. That is what lower blood sugar naturally should mean. Not stopping medication, not refusing medical care, not chasing a miracle cure. It means making your daily meals gentler on your body. Here is a simple 7-day starting plan. For the first 2 days, choose 1 vegetable from this list and add it to lunch. For the next 2 days, add 1 serving to dinner. On day 5, replace part of your usual starch with one of these vegetables. On day 6, try eating vegetables and protein before starch. On day 7, look at your blood sugar readings, your hunger, your bowel movements, and your energy. Do not judge by one number. Look for the pattern. Maybe rice raises your sugar more than potatoes. Maybe late-night snacks are the real problem. Maybe cabbage soup before dinner helps you eat less. Maybe cauliflower rice works better than you expected. Your body gives clues. Before I finish, let me name the biggest mistakes I see. The first mistake is adding vegetables, but not reducing anything else. If the rice portion stays just as large, the bread stays just as large, and the sweet drink stays there too. Vegetables can improve nutrition, but the glucose load may still be too high. The second mistake is drinking sugar with a healthy meal. Juice, sweet tea, soda, flavored coffee, and sweetened drinks can raise blood sugar quickly. A plate full of vegetables cannot fully protect you from liquid sugar. The third mistake is using too much oil. Vegetables are healthy, but oil is dense. A small measured amount is fine. A puddle in the pan is not. The fourth mistake is increasing fiber too fast. If you have eaten very little fiber for years, do not suddenly eat huge bowls of broccoli, cabbage, okra, and Brussels sprouts. Your gut may rebel. Increase gradually and drink enough fluid unless your doctor has told you to restrict fluids. The fifth mistake is thinking raw is always better. For many seniors, cooked vegetables are safer, easier to chew, easier to digest, and more realistic. Soft vegetables still count. So at your next meal, do not try to fix your whole diet. Just improve the plate. Add 1 non-starchy vegetable. Eat it before or with your protein. Reduce the starch slightly. Skip the sweet drink. Then repeat that pattern. That may sound small, but small, repeated changes are often what protect health after 60. If this helped you understand blood sugar more clearly, subscribe and stay with me. In the next video, I'll show you the breakfast foods that look healthy but may still raise blood sugar after 60. And remember, you do not need all 9 vegetables tomorrow. You need one good choice at the next meal, because after 60, the goal is not to eat perfectly. The goal is to eat in a way your body can forgive, your blood sugar can handle, and your life can actually sustain.